It's a good delivery, full of leg. That's gone for 6 runs.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching NewsX and the cricket carnival continues. I'm Angelo. IPL season 10 is going on, and tonight on Super Saturday we are going to discuss match 25 between table toppers Mumbai and of course Delhi at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. We will also be reviewing the result between Pune and Hyderabad. Also on the review list is Sunil Narayan's impact as an opener for Kolkata alongside Suresh Raina's special innings. There's an analysis of the points table too. NewsX brings you the cricket carnival as we discuss, analyze and bring everything from the world of IPL to your living room. We are being joined live by former Mumbai Ranji cricketer Shishir Hatangadi, who will be discussing all these key points with us. But first, let's have a look at the key player of the match from yesterday's game. It was a visual delight at the historical Eden Gardens as Suresh Raina stormed to the authority. The valiant Gujarat skipper gave a special account of himself to light up the Eden Gardens with some stupendous fireworks. With a wide range of shots in his foray, the Southpaw was in complete command and took charge of Gujarat's chase in a stiff 189-run target. Raina's 84 runs off just 46 deliveries helped the Gujarat Lions beat an in-form Kolkata Knight Riders and earn a much-needed victory. Despite Gujarat's struggles this season, Suresh Raina has been in sublime touch. His prowess as a match winner would be essential for Gujarat's campaign, as the team will hope for more Raina specials to come. Shishir, first off, it was seen as a match in which Kolkata Knight Riders would have easily dominated, should have easily dominated Gujarat Lions. They were among the table toppers. Gujarat Lions were at the bottom of the table. They were playing the Gujarat Lions at their home ground at the vaulted Eden Gardens. But this only goes on to show that IPL is such an unpredictable format of the game.
Yes, I've always maintained that, as good as you are as a team, it all depends on how well you play on a particular day. And yesterday we saw that special performance from a somewhat neglected player now in the ladder of the BCCI. He's not on a contract. But he showed why he's one of India's best shorter version batsmen. And you can never write off players in the class of Suresh Raina for too long, because the moment they get going, they make sure they get the runs, but they also ensure that the team gets through onto the other side and wins a game. And that is so critical of good quality shorter version batsmen.
Shishir, you touched upon Suresh Raina's fall for grace. He was, if I'm not mistaken, probably one of the biggest stars of the IPL, especially during his days with Chennai Super Kings. He was seen as one of the most bankable stars of not just the CSK franchise, but also of IPL in general here. Now, what seems to have gone wrong so far for Suresh Raina? Was it the fact that ultimately his franchise was taken out of the equation, or the fact that his own problems with form playing for Team India ultimately resulted in diminishing values as an IPL star as well?
Well, I don't think his value as an IPL star has diminished. He's still leading a franchise, and a franchise that came into being only because his previous franchise was disqualified. So he's very much sought after. I mean, we'll see that in the next auction next year, when all the players go into the pool, that he'll be picked up for a great price. That's not the point. The point is, yes, he's had a break from international cricket. And, you know, if you notice any of these top players who've had a break from international cricket, a comeback into the IPL means it is a little difficult. I mean, we've seen that with players like Shane Watson. You know, they haven't played too much international cricket. So they're machines that are not so well oiled as you'd expect when somebody is playing international cricket. The fact is that he's had a break, Suresh Raina. He's come back into the fold and adjusted quite well. It takes a bit of time, but he's got the added responsibility, I won't say burden, of captaining a team which isn't really strong in the bowling department. So he has a lot to contribute in terms of his team's performance, and we saw that at the Eden Gardens yesterday.
You mentioned the fact that he obviously carries the burden of captaining a team which is being seen as strugglers in the season's IPL. How much of a talisman is this performance expected to be, Shishir, in at least spurring the Gujarat Lions? They're now right now staring at the bottom end of the barrel here, and they will probably have to win almost every game in order to hope to progress to the playoffs here. I'm sure this was just the knock they needed.
Yes, and you know, we often talk about momentum in this format where, you know, over 40 odd days you're playing almost every other day, and losing becomes quite depressing. I've been part of teams where, you know, teams have tried as hard, but they just haven't got over the line. So you know, win against a top place team, it does make you confident, it makes you buoyant, and it ensures that, you know, the team starts believing in themselves. The fact that they have to win all their matches, as you said, it may seem a tall order, but if they take a game at a time and, you know, just keep developing momentum, then you'll find that any team, not only Gujarat Lions, who's sort of low on that table, can suddenly start looking up, and, you know, as you go up every game with a win, you start feeling a lot more confident as a unit, and this is what you want. And T20 offers you that uncertainty to go up from nowhere to somewhere.
Well, if there was a team which went up from somewhere to absolutely nowhere, it was Kolkata Knight Riders. They were dealt a blow in their batting atop with Chris Lynn getting injured. But in hindsight, the team's attention towards Sunil Narine seems to have paid off. Gautam Gambhir's experimentation with ace spinner Sunil Narine opening the batman for Team Kolkata has done wonders. His flamboyance at the top is turning out to be a masterstroke. Narayan's exploits has helped set Kolkata dominate the proceeding as far as batting is concerned in the power play overs. Narine produced a peach of an innings with 42 runs of just 17 deliveries against Gujarat. All of his runs, interestingly, came in boundaries. He's already produced 2 class innings so far. Although Kolkata was beaten by Gujarat at the Eden Gardens, last night Narine has assured the side of his accountability. Shishir, this is one of the brilliant aspects that come out of the IPL. We have seen combinations and decisions which perhaps no team would be, or no captain would be brave enough to try out in an international format or in a much more high-stakes game. Sunil Narine opening the batting was seen as something, a decision so left out of the field that nobody had anticipated it. But funnily enough, it seems to have worked out for KKR.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of thought behind you know, these decisions that seem out of the box. One is, of course, there's a team management watching a player in the nets, and they're quick to assess a talent or a quality that a player might have where, you know, other teams may not be aware of. And the fact that Chris Lynn got injured with that shoulder made Narine, or made somebody in that team think that Narine may be a good out of the box decision to throw in the power play and ensure that, you know, he could deliver as he's delivering in the nets, because obviously there's some method to this madness, and nobody takes these decisions without giving it a thought. But I think what is interesting is Narayan's addition as a a power play pinch hitter, as you may call him, has helped the team believe that, you know, he can score those book cricket shots, that is 4s and 6s, to ensure that they maximize. But
Shishir, will Murphy's Law eventually ensure? Shishir, will Murphy's Law eventually ensure that this experiment will fail? Because as much as IPL is compared to, as you pointed out, a book cricket format, the fact still remains that a lot of people also believe that it ultimately does come down to technique and discipline as well. And decisions like these, when one can argue, may work out once in a while, but can't be a permanent solution.
Well, it isn't. I mean, Chris Lynn is injured. So he's come in by default, if I may say so. It's not something that may have happened if Chris Lynn was fit with the performance he displayed and showcased in that game. But the fact is that, you're expected not to succeed in every game in a T20 format because the margin of error is much more. But considering, you can do the job in, say, 60% of the games that you're given that option. Narayan is going to be dormant as a player if he gets out early. His main contribution comes from those 4 overs. So this is an added bonus. This is a value add to the persona of Sunil Narayan, the batsman, and if he can, the cricketer, and if he can deliver as a batsman, what you will find is he's value adding to the team because he's not going to hang around for 6 overs and then get out with, say, 20 on the board. He's going to ensure that if he can't do it in 1 over, he's going to be out. So he's not going to waste those extra 5 overs. So that gives the team an opportunity to rethink in case he gets out early. So I think it's a very calculated move. And if it works, it's going to help the team. Then Gautam Gambhir can play around the pinch hitter. And that's something you want. It's a team game after all. And Sunil Narayan seems to have, they've ticked the right boxes in terms of going out in the power play and delivering for his side.
Well, we've just got news coming in with regards to the game that is going on. Rising Pune Supergiants have defeated Sunrisers Hyderabad at this point, and they have currently slight gained some of a momentum. But before that, obviously, let's go across to my colleague Rakshita Mishra, who's joining us with the points table, obviously, before this match result came out. So with that disclaimer being given, over to you, Rakshita.
Well, absolutely. Thank you, Tanshu, for that. Well, Mumbai, of course, as we were discussing, they are the master of chases, and Kolkata, with the defeat yesterday faced at the hands of Gujarat, are still at the second position. They failed to replace Mumbai at the top. Kolkata, of course, were lacking in living up to their full potential. Henceforth, they are still there at the second spot. Third, we see Hyderabad, of course, today. Of course, after the match, of course, the scenario will be changing. Delhi, Punjab, Bangalore. Talking about these three teams, Tanshu, well, these 3 teams have been struggling to put their game together, stepping up to the situations. Comprehensive kind of performance is what they are lacking. Pune, of course, today they have turned the tables around. Captain Dhoni has finally fired today, as what we are getting the news as, and now, of course, we will be hoping that they get some points on the table and change the scenario. Gujarat still languishing at the bottom, but after yesterday's victory, of course, we are hoping that they will be bringing in their mojo back. What we saw of Gujarat Lions in the previous season, they were the debutants in the Indian Premier League, but they were a good team. They managed to come to the semi-final stage, and today, of course, we see Gujarat, of course, will be improving as far as the points are concerned, and they will be improving. Captain Raina, of course, the biggest factor, as we discussed just a few minutes ago. Gujarat has been led by the captain Suresh Raina, one of the best players as far as Indian T20 India.
Well, it's interesting, Rakshita. It's a mark of how closely fought the lower side of that table is, because right now, if I'm not mistaken, and if you can just show that table with Rakshita once again on screen, with Pune winning this match against Hyderabad, they're now once again at top of the table, almost at the joint third, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of points with Hyderabad. So very interesting it becomes. There you see it, Pune with 1 match, they become essentially 7 matches played, won 4 and lost 3, which brings it up to roughly Hyderabad, if my calculations are correct. So it's an indication of how unpredictable the format is. Yesterday, one would have thought that Kolkata would have dominated the Gujarat Lions, but Gujarat Lions have pulled one back, and today it seemed it was a turn for a team which was formerly languishing at the last but one position at the table, and they have also pulled one back, because Pune has beaten Hyderabad to rise in the Indian Premier League Season 10 in a key encounter at home. They surged past the target of 177 runs after a sudden burst towards the end, led by the one and only Mahendra Singh Dhoni. For Pune, Rahul Tripathi shined with a bat as MS Dhoni came on top of proceedings toward the latter stages and scored a 50. Earlier, Hyderabad started off well as both David Warner and Shikhar Dhawan got the side to a good start. But with Pune hitting back, Hyderabad was in danger to put a decent total on board. But Moses Henrik struck a valiant 55 of just 28 deliveries to get the side to a respective score. For Pune, Daniel Christian was the pick of the bowlers with figures of 1 for 20 in 4 overs here. Shishir Obviously, it was a nail-biting finish towards the end, but what is really heartening for all fans, irrespective of which team they support, would have been possibly the return of Mahendra Singh Dhoni to form, not just as a star batsman, but also as a finisher in the crucial situations where at one point he was the best in the world.
It was a matter of time. I kept hearing the surround sound of, Dhoni having lost his mojo, and that's something that one would not accept so easily unless one had enough reason to believe. And it was a matter of time. Today he had enough time at the wicket. He also had a total to achieve, and the fact is that this innings might just propel Pune to a different level from now on, because they've got their key players scoring, and the young Tripathi today showed that he can be a surprise package, because one doesn't expect uncapped Indian players to make a serious impact, and when they do, you will see that teams have forged ahead and won cricket matches. So the Tripathi's success today, and of course the fact that Dhoni seemingly found his rhythm, will propel Pune to go out to achieve much more and surprise a few teams that are at the top of the table. And this is something you want out of the Indian Premier League.
Absolutely. A quick interesting trivia at this point. This was the first last ball victory in this year's IPL, and the last one also was between Pune and Kings 11 Punjab last season. And what's even more interesting, perhaps coincidental or not, that Mahendra Singh Dhoni hit the winning runs in both encounters. Now, giving that trivia for our viewers, obviously it is a very interesting, a very healthy sign for the IPL indeed. One of the key aspects which makes the IPL retain some sort of importance or interest over the years is that there has never been one team which has dominated for year after year, which we have seen in some football leagues in the West. And this time too, Shishir, it seems to be quite an open field. Now, one could argue that Mumbai and Kolkata are the favourites to reach the top four, but the other two spots are actually up for grabs, and it are very, very open indeed.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Mumbai look like they're steamrolling everybody. But, it takes one game and just one bad day and others start, capitalizing on that bad day. So, at the moment, on paper, what we see in terms of the performance showcased by Mumbai Indians and to a great extent Kolkata Knight Riders, they'll have their off days, but generally they look composed and, completely on top of their game. But don't rule out other teams, because, one bad day, stroke of bad luck, and things can change so very quickly in T20 that it becomes difficult to come back in that particular game. And that losing also becomes, in a sense, a negative momentum for a side. And that's something every team is mindful of. They know that, you may have 5 wins in the bag, you may be sitting very high, towards the midway through the tournament, but a couple of bad games and you start feeling the pressure, you start realizing that you could be out of the last 4 or the top 4, and that's it. That's when you start doubting your own ability.
And when it comes to momentum,
and you end up losing. We've seen it in the past. I think every team is conscious.
And when it comes to momentum, Shishir, how big an impact will be Mahendra Singh Dhoni's return to his finishing ways for both his team and his opponents? Because this changes the game significantly. While a lot of teams would have been quite tempted to underestimate Supergiants, especially because Mahendra Singh Dhoni has not clicked for them over the past 2 years. But Mahendra Singh Dhoni at top of his form and peak of his form, without being inhibited with the burden of captaincy, would perhaps be the most dangerous player in the entire season.
Colossal, I'd say. I mean, just one word. And more importantly, spelling danger for the opposition. The most important part is your team is always aware of your skills and your talent and what you're capable of. But the moment you deliver and deliver at a time when it's important for the team, the opposition's ears go up. They start thinking differently. They say, look, this guy's come back to form. We have to be aware of him. When he's going through a lean trot, or any good player, quality player is going through a lean trot, the opposition is aware that, it will take time for him to come out of that lean trot. But the moment he comes out, he spells danger. Similarly with Chris Gayle, that knock of 70 the other day. it gave out a signal to the opposition that, you know, now you could be coming under my radar and you know, and my Excalibur, so to speak. And when that happens, you know that, you know, teams could lose games from winning positions, and that's what Mahendra Singh Dhoni's impact on the T20 game and his team is, because this innings today will propel his team, and it will also, you know, send out a signal to the opposition that, you know, the man is back in form.
And these are players who cannot be underestimated regardless of their past form, and these are players who can turn the match around with just one knock. Well, Mahendra Singh Dhoni obviously remains a highlight, but now we are going to look into the big preview for today's game between Delhi Daredevils and Mumbai Indians. But that, and well, the big news coming in with the toss. Delhi Daredevils, Zaheer Khan has won the toss and perhaps quite smartly elected to bowl first against Mumbai Indians. And why that's prudent is because Mumbai Indians have won all of their 5 games chasing. And is that very important for them? Has the jinx been broken today? Well, we will be talking about match number 25, which will be played at the Wankhede Stadium, where Rohit Sharma's host will take on Team Delhi. Mumbai are playing exceptionally well in the tournament so far and currently are the table toppers. Meanwhile, on the other side, Team Delhi have a lot more to do to find themselves in the comfort zone in the tournament. From the current scenario, it seems that Delhi is working hard to fight back. The team will look forward to break Mumbai's run and gel collectively together. But we can't forget that the Wankhede has been quite talismanic for Mumbai so far, and Rohit Sharma and company will be eyeing another masterclass at home. Let's now go across to my colleague Rakshita, who will get us the key players when it comes to both Team Mumbai and Team Delhi, and why.
Well, absolutely. First of all, we look at the key players for Mumbai, because Mumbai being the master of chases in this IPL. Nitish Rana has been the leader as far as the chases is concerned for Mumbai. He is the second highest run getter after David Warner in this edition of IPL. 6 matches, 255 runs is what he has scored. He's a great chaser. We saw that in the last match against Punjab, how he put out that amazing chase. Joss Butler again there, 6 matches, 185 runs, 77 is his best. The innings, of course, that we are talking about in the last match against Punjab, he has put out a thrilling 77 that he put out with a strike rate of 156.77, averaging a 30.88. Moving on to the key players for Delhi. Well, Delhi have been struggling. They have their task cut out against Mumbai. Sanju Samson, well, the wicketkeeper batsman, tried to pull in his potential. His potential has been long talked about, but in the last match we saw him, you know, playing key in the performance as far as Delhi is concerned. 5 matches, 215 runs. That is what he has scored. Other than that, we have Chris Morris, who is the all-rounder from South Africa. 5 matches, 12 wickets best. Of course, 4 for 26. He has a good economy also right there. So, of course, Chris Morris and Chris Morris and company will be having the task cut out against the Mumbai Chasers. And, of course, Sanju Samson will be looking in to put up more of his potential. A young lineup from Delhi against a stronger Mumbai team. Well, we'll have to wait and watch and who comes out better. We saw that in the match in Pune versus Hyderabad today. We're obviously expecting more of suspense and thrillers in this match.
Thanks indeed, Rakshita, for getting us that lowdown. Shishir, obviously, I think the biggest news point that has come out from Mumbai Indians' spectacular run is the fact that all their victories have come chasing. Perhaps today might be a big test because they will have to bat first and then get the victory.
It will be a test, certainly. I mean, if you see the trend in the IPL this year, it's been teams that are chasing have really won you games, and because the due factor and, of course, the fact that they've been able to assess situations better. But I'm telling you, this Mumbai Indian side looks like they're out with a mission, and for Delhi to make a serious impact on this game, they'll have to bowl very well. And even if you bowl first, it's important for you to pick up wickets. And more importantly is the use of Chris Morris as a batsman. I mean, we've seen that in the last game they ended up not getting the runs, and Chris Morris was in the hut. He didn't even get a bat. So how they use Chris Morris as a batsman is so critical. He's a match winner. I mean, for God's sake, when you have 120 balls to win your game, you don't have your most aggressive buccaneering batsman sitting in the hut and not getting even 10 balls to play. That is something that is inexcusable. You can have poor teams, you can have teams that underperform, but you can't have strategic decisions that go wrong in the interest of a side. And this is something that I haven't been able to understand from Delhi in the last games.
Indeed. Now, focusing on Mumbai, now obviously it's very easy to underestimate or at least sweep weaknesses under the carpet when you're doing well. But the fact still remains that while uncapped players like Nitish Rana have done well for the team, the big star, somebody like Rohit Sharma, is yet to come to the party, and perhaps it's long overdue for a special Rohit knock.
Yeah, but for that, Rana, Butler will have to fail. T20 is a very, very different kind of format, and I have this great argument with a lot of my colleagues that a player is not in form. I mean, the form comes when you get opportunities, and yeah, Rohit has been off the pump in the first couple of games. He won them the last game, staying there till the end. But the fact of the matter is, if your key players are not needed, it just tells you that there is enough firepower in that team to deliver numbers for you and get you the runs. You have the Pandya brothers lower down in the order who contributed in a big way. What is crucial is guys like Malinga who are supposed to do well seem a little off track and off the pump, if I may say so. But it won't take them long to come back into rhythm and make a serious impact in this IPL, because players like Malinga are sought after. They're only playing this format now, and they probably get up every morning knowing how to bowl those 4 overs.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks a lot, Shishir, for joining us with all your perspectives. But we will be leaving you with this quick victory montage of Mumbai Indians as they recently had a cake-cutting ceremony to celebrate 5 chasing victories on the toss. Will they be able to top up the celebration this time or not? Time will tell. But for now, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.
It's a good delivery, full of length. That's gone for 6 runs.